Welcome to Golden Blue Dude once again, and it's a Wednesday night, and for West Virginia fans, it's the night before game day. We have yet another Thursday night game. It's going to be against Baylor in Morgantown, and I think the home game against Oklahoma is also going to be a Thursday night game. Sorry, I had to pull down the mic a little too far away. Might need to fix this angle just a smidge. I think that's a little bit better. Yeah, it's okay if the camera's in shot. I know it's blocking the Texas. See, there's no shot that's perfect. You can't get everything that you want because now the mic is blocking the Texas thing. And I know Texas fans are going to get on to me for that. I'll scoot it down just a smidge. There, that's as good as it gets right there. But anyways, tomorrow is game night. Or for West Virginia. So you know what that means. I'll be live streaming, so you'll see all my raw reactions. Even if West Virginia somehow pulls off a miracle and beats Baylor in Morgantown tomorrow, until the game is actually over and the final score reads West Virginia wins, you're going to see a lot of anger, a lot of stress, but still a lot of happiness if that's the end result. I'm hoping that's the end result, but I'm just not sure. I am not sure. This is a massive game for West Virginia. It's a massive game for Neil Brown. I've heard of a lot of, backstage talking and rumors and all this other stuff about how if we can't win this game, then it might be the end for Neil Brown as far as his tenure at West Virginia. Not immediately, but probably his last year at West Virginia. So this is a big game. I would say must win. It's kind of like the Virginia Tech game. That was a must win. Texas wasn't necessarily a must win, but I didn't like the performance. So it wasn't that we lost to Texas. It was how we looked in the loss. We looked terrible. And that's why, the rumor mill started getting heated up yet again. So we'll be doing a live show for the Baylor West Virginia game. We'll see how it goes. You'll see my reactions. If you've already watched my live streams earlier, these games, you already know. If you haven't, stay tuned. It gets a little crazy around here. Anyway, hump day, everybody. Halfway through the week. Well, technically, now that it's Wednesday evening, we're actually a little bit past halfway. We're on the downslope. 2 days till college football Saturday, or 3 days. 3 days till college football Saturday. Yes, we did it. And for my kids, they actually didn't go to school on Monday and Tuesday, so they only have a 3-day week this week. So they were really excited about that. So today was their Monday, but they only have 3 days of school this week. So, which was weird because, okay, I'll get back to college football here in just a second. I just have to get this off my chest. It doesn't make any sense because some of the counties gave them 2 days off for this week, Columbus Day, and the day after, and then other counties give their students off next Monday and the Tuesday after. Somebody explain. Am I missing something? Is there something that I'm overlooking? Somebody explain that one to me. It makes absolutely no sense. All right, let's get back to college football. Before we go on any further, though, let me remind everybody, please hit the like button. Even if you don't like me, even if you don't like the video, it helps the video hit the YouTube algorithm, gets it suggested more, and that's how we grow our audience. So you're not just helping me, you're actually helping yourself as well, because you're growing the audience. So that's more people that you can talk to and talk smack to. So please hit the thumbs up. Helps the video, helps me, and it helps you. And if you have a question for me specifically, tonight is not a call-in night. So I'm not going to have any guests on tonight. Tomorrow, you know what? The scheduling, this is going to be interesting because the scheduling, we changed the live call-ins as far as joining on StreamYard, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Well, tomorrow is game night, so I will be streaming the game. So since it's a call-in night, yeah, I think I'll let some guests on from time to time. That should spice things up. I like it. I think it's a good idea. We'll see how it goes, and we'll see in the future if we want to do that in future live streams for games. So tomorrow is going to be a call-in night. I do have to say, though, it's not going to be like the entire live stream. It's going to be like every so often for a certain amount of time. Maybe, allow 4 guests on for 15 minutes. Then we'll take a 15-minute break. Something like that. We'll figure out a schedule that works best for everybody. But tomorrow, even though we're doing a live stream for the game, I will allow people to join the stream. But tonight, sorry guys, not a call-in night. Just me. Just me. I know. That is such a bummer. Such a bummer. But getting back to what I was saying, if you have a specific question for me or a comment or a troll, you want to make fun of your rival, or you want to brag about your team, or you want to make fun of me, best way to get my attention is the super chat button, little dollar sign that you see on your bottom right-hand corner. I think they actually outlined it with a heart now. So just hit that button. Anything you put in that super chat, as long as it's YouTube appropriate, I will put it on the screen, read it out loud, let everybody know what question you had or comment or whatever. Even if you're making fun of me, we appreciate you supporting the channel so much. Yeah, I'll still read it. You can ask people. They've made me cheer on other teams that I hate, but you know what? You supported the channel, so it's fair game. It's fair game. So, title of the video, right? Kansas, Big Ten possibly eyeing Kansas. The reason I made that is because Kansas, all of a sudden, out of the blue, is investing $300 million into their football facilities, not their basketball facilities. Kansas is known as a basketball school. They are investing $300 million into their football facility out of the blue. I know they're having a great season this year. That's not why they're doing that, okay? They announced it this time. It wasn't this week. It was the week before the TCU game. They announced it then because they were having success, but the decision was already made. So the timing of the decision had nothing to do with this year. They had decided this, I think, at the beginning of this year or sometime last year. But the timing of the announcement, that was definitely influenced by the success of this year. So Kansas is investing $300 million into their football facility. And from what I'm hearing, this is only the first phase. So $300 million, that's a lot of money right then and there. And on top of that, that's not everything. That's kind of the foundation. The way they worded it, it's basically the foundation, and they're going to be pouring some more money into it. I don't know the timing. I don't know if it's like 2 years after this is complete, 5 years or whatever, but more money will be poured into the Kansas football facility. Now, to go along with that, Kansas has AAU status. Kansas brings in a substantial amount of revenue in for the Big 12, including Oklahoma and Texas. Kansas and West Virginia are right up there at number 3, number 4. And when Texas and Oklahoma are gone, Kansas and West Virginia will be up there at number 1, number 2. So Kansas does bring in a lot of money for the Big 12. They are a contributor. I don't know how much or if they meet, the criteria or the money balance that's needed to add to the pie as far as raising the TV revenue for the Big Ten. I don't know all the numbers to that, but I do know they do check all the boxes as far as possibly a future Big Ten member. And really the only piece that was missing was their football facilities. That was the biggest knock on Kansas. Everybody knows they're a great academic school. They have AAU status. They do make a pretty good bit of money for the Big 12, but their football facilities, not good right now. Not good at all. So that was their biggest knock. Now that they're checking that box, I don't know, guys. I don't know. Not sure about that one. It makes sense, right? And Kansas, whenever, trying to remember, I think it was actually during the first go around. Yeah, it was the first go around whenever Oklahoma and Texas announced that they were going to the SEC last year. That's when the discussion of the Big Ten possibly picking up Kansas really started. It started way back then. But really the biggest box that was not checked whenever that rumor first started was the football thing. So this is not the first time somebody has mentioned this, but it's starting to be talked about again because of the announcement by Kansas. That's a pretty significant announcement. Now, whether it actually translates into a Big Ten invite, we'll see. I don't know. A lot of people think that the Big Ten will go after Oregon and Washington next, but maybe it is Kansas. Who knows? I don't know if they're going to go after any ACC teams because the grant of rights has to get figured out. So that's definitely a wait and see. So if you take the ACC off the board, then the Big Ten really has the two big brands from the Pac-12, Oregon and Washington, and then, whoever from the Big 12. They're not getting anybody from the SEC. That's not happening, and vice versa. So something to keep our ears and eyes out on. I just thought it was interesting, especially, the whole football aspect. That's a big thing, especially $300 million. I thought that the $200 million renovation that Memphis announced was big. They announced that they were investing $200 million into a renovation expansion for the Liberty Bowl. I thought that was a big deal. This is even bigger. And I know it's not completely just for the football stadium. It's like, players' facilities and all that stuff. This is a big deal. Very, very big deal. I see some people, and not just in the live show, but in my regular videos, people concerned about, the birchwood kind of sagging a little bit from my shelves. Yes. And we knew that was going to happen. So the next stage for my studio expansion, kind of sticking with the stadium expansion, part of the next phase is going to get some 2x4s and brace that up. So that will be fixed, I promise. This, like other renovations and expansions, will happen in stages. I also want the front of this completely filled in. So this is going to be a wall, and that's where the pinwheel of pennants will go back up. So never fear, the pinwheel of pennants will go back up, and it's going to be front and center, right in front of the helmets. And I know for sure I'm going to do one more shelf above that's going to be anchored directly to the wall. So that top shelf you see up there, there's going to be a long shelf that runs above both doors, corner to corner. So that's in the future as well. Yes, I did get the Clemson mini helmet, but I didn't know who it was from because it didn't have a note. So I know who to shout out now. Greatly appreciated. As you can see, from the mini helmets that I do have, I try to match up from the games that are coming up. So we have Kansas at Oklahoma. I'm going to have to move out of the way real quick. Baylor at West Virginia, Oklahoma State at TCU, Arkansas at BYU, Miami at Virginia Tech, Clemson at Florida State. Now that I have the Clemson helmet, I was able to match those two up. I'm going to have to look in the group of 5 to see if I missed any matchups there. I don't think I did, but yeah. Joey Foster shares my frustrations. YouTube is getting on our nerves right now. Golden Blue Dude was on a massive roll, and we're still on a good roll. Don't get me wrong, we're still on a good roll. But YouTube has kind of messed with our algorithm because not sending out notifications for the live show like it should. Now, some people get it, some people don't. Even me, the creator, I'm not getting notifications whenever I go live. And used to, it was every live show, I'm getting notifications. Joey, my executive, not getting any notifications. So that's a big problem, and I'm gonna have to talk to YouTube about it because that's actually really important if you think about it, because especially with my schedule, I don't have a set schedule. I go whenever I can. I fit my live shows into my everyday life. So not too thrilled about that. Not at all. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that they think that Baylor could head to the SEC. The only thing that I would say about that is the SEC already has Texas and Texas A&M. They really don't need another school from the state of Texas. I would say Baylor to the ACC would make a lot of sense. I like the thought of that. I think Baylor would bring a lot of money to the ACC. It would give them a strong footprint in the state of Texas. And Baylor's making some money right now. Baylor just they actually built a brand new football stadium. And it's kind of an optical illusion, because whenever you look at the stadium itself, it honestly looks like it should easily be able to hold 70, 75,000. But that stadium right now, as is, only holds about 45, 50,000. However, footers in place for the open side, so it can be expanded, I think, up to 70,000 is what they said. But it's really crazy whenever you look at images of the new football stadium for Baylor. Big time optical illusion. It looks like a massive, massive football stadium. So whoever came up with that stadium design, my gosh, salute to you. Salute to you. You did the most with the least. My gosh. Yeah, we're still waiting on the Georgia mini helmet. I have so many Georgia subscribers. Still haven't got. I mean, I'll display it whenever I get it, but I haven't gotten it yet. Just got the Clemson mini helmet today. Let's see. What other brands are we surprised not to have? Texas. Surprised we don't have Texas yet. We got Oklahoma. We got Ohio State. We got Michigan. We got Alabama. We got Clemson today. As far as the biggest brands go, I think that, well, LSU's a big brand. I guess Arkansas, BYU, and Missouri as well. Oklahoma State, maybe. Baylor. Michigan State. Miami. There you go. Miami, Florida State. Yeah, a lot of, now that, every time I think about it, it's very true. A lot of the bigger brands, we are missing the mini helmet. I'm calling out the Georgia fans, though, specifically because I do have a lot of Georgia fans. They are very boisterous in my videos. They're very loud and proud, but the only thing Georgia that I've gotten so far was from Jim, and that was the Georgia other side. Nope, I was right. The Georgia, man, the angle is weird. The Georgia bottle, Coke bottle, down on the left. That's it. No mini helmet, no pennant, no nothing. So, I don't know. Y'all interpret that the way you want to. Maybe they just don't like me. Maybe that's it. I don't know. Anyways, some big games, though, on Saturday. Big games. Now, you might disagree with me on this one. My opinion, I think the biggest game is number 10 Penn State at Michigan. The argument is, well, College Game Day is at number 3 Alabama at number 6 Tennessee. And yes, that is a big game. But the reason that I think Penn State at Michigan is a bigger game is I think, number one, if Penn State goes on the road and beats Michigan, I think they will be the Big Ten East champs and go on to play in the Big Ten. Did I say Big East? I meant to say Big Ten. Excuse me. Big Ten East champions, and they'll go on to play in the Big Ten championship and probably win the Big Ten championship because they get Ohio State at home. So this is the game that could literally determine if Penn State can make the playoffs. That's a big deal. On the other side, it's a big game for Michigan as well. They're trying to prove that last year was not a fluke. Now, they have to go on the road and play Ohio State. And if they lose that game, then they would need Ohio State to lose 2 games to get to the Big Ten championship because Ohio State would have the tiebreaker over them. Now, I know number 3 Alabama at number 6 Tennessee is a big game. And it is. It is. Especially if Alabama loses to Tennessee. That makes it even more important because now Tennessee is still undefeated. Looking at their schedule real quick. Let me check that schedule out real quick. No. Surprisingly enough, I do not know their schedule off the top of my head. So, surprise. Anyways, let's look at Tennessee's schedule. So, for Tennessee, let's see here. Here we go. Tennessee, after Alabama, UT Martin, cake. Number 22, Kentucky. That should be a win. Kentucky's not looking as good as what they did last year. I think 2 losses in a row, I think. So, if Tennessee beats Alabama on Saturday, they should go into that Georgia game, which is a road game, undefeated. That game I would classify more important than number 10 Penn State at number 5 Michigan. If Tennessee beats Alabama. It'll still be a big game, but I don't know if I would give Tennessee any chance of beating Georgia on the road. If Tennessee can't beat Alabama at home, I don't think that they're going to be able to go on the road and beat Georgia. I think Alabama's winnable this year or beatable this year. I think Texas A&M proved that, and that was on the road. And I know that's more of a rivalry now, so you never know what you're going to get out of that game. But even Texas proved that Alabama's beatable. They're not an unbeatable team this year. In fact, I don't see any team this year that's unbeatable. I really don't. There's no 2018 Clemson, 2019 LSU, 2020 Alabama, or 2021 Georgia. There's a lot more parity. Ohio State, they've had some issues. Maybe they've had the least amount of issues out of everybody, but they really haven't played that tough of a schedule. That Notre Dame game at the beginning of the year was probably their worst game, and it still wasn't that close of a game. 21-10. I mean, I guess it was a defensive struggle, and Notre Dame isn't that good, but their schedule hasn't really tested them. So we really don't know all that much about Ohio State. Defense looks better, and C.J. Stroud is a Heisman contender. Now, let's go down the list real quick. Hold on. Let's go back to the rankings. Okay, rankings. That was Ohio State. Georgia at number 1. Well, we already know that Georgia has looked very, very suspect against Kent State and especially Missouri on the road. So Georgia doesn't look like the unbeatable juggernaut that they looked like last year for sure. They definitely look beatable. I just talked about Ohio State. Alabama's had some issues. They about lost to Texas on the road. And I think that was the game that Texas lost Quinn Ewers. He didn't even play the entire game. So that's with Texas having a backup quarterback for some of the game. Not all of the game, but some of the game. So would Texas have won that game if Quinn Ewers would have played the entire game? I don't know. They just blew out Oklahoma 49-0. I know Oklahoma's bad, but still, that's very impressive. So Alabama has shown some chinks. Clemson is very interesting. This is my assessment for Clemson. They started off looking bad. I know they blew out Georgia Tech, but Georgia Tech was in that game up until the fourth quarter. Okay. To me, I think Clemson looks like they have gotten better and better and better throughout the year. They went on the road and beat a good Wake Forest. At the time, I was like, come on, you're struggling with Wake Forest. They have no defense. Well, then Wake Forest went on the road and beat Florida State convincingly. Maybe Wake Forest is a better team than we thought, and it was a road game. And then they came back home and pretty much handled NC State. It wasn't a blowout win, but if you watch the game, it really wasn't ever in doubt. I mean, it was Clemson all the way. So they've gotten better and better and better. They're going to have a test this weekend on the road against Florida State. The atmosphere is going to be like the old Florida State atmosphere that we all remember. The Tomahawk Chop, it's going to be packed out. Great rivalry game. So, yes, Clemson will be tested. But to me, the more I watch Clemson, the more I'm impressed. I've actually bumped them up in my top 25 rankings. I think I have them up to number 5 now. And I know that's not as high as the AP poll, but you got to realize I had Clemson all the way down at like number 11 or 12 at one point. So that's a big, rising for Clemson. They've risen. They've gotten better and better and better. And maybe I should have put them in my top 4, but the teams above them didn't do enough to, warrant them being knocked down below Clemson. No, I think I have them. It's either 5 or 6, and whichever one they're not, Penn State is. So Clemson's either 5 or 6, and Penn State's either 5 or 6. So they've climbed in my rankings because I've been impressed with Clemson. I think Clemson will make the playoffs. They do need to survive this road game against Florida State. Might be their toughest game remaining on the schedule. I know they have to play Syracuse, but it's at home. And I think Syracuse is probably the most vulnerable, unbeaten team in the nation right now. I think Syracuse ends up at minimum with 2 losses. But a 10-win season, that's still pretty good for Syracuse. That's still pretty good. So I'm not saying that they're a bad team, but I don't think that I think they're one of the worst undefeated teams out there. But still undefeated, right? Pepsi break. So I'm pretty high on Clemson. Clemson, probably one of the best teams in the nation right now. So if they go on the road and beat Florida State, we'll see what happens with Michigan and Penn State. Clemson will definitely climb in my rankings if they beat Florida State because either Penn State or Michigan will drop because one of them will have to lose. That brings me to number 5, Michigan. Michigan has looked good, but Michigan has played nobody. You still have to go with what you what you've seen. Excuse me. So the biggest knock on Michigan right now is they really haven't played anybody, although I do think Maryland is better than people give them credit for. Excuse me again. I think they're going to upset somebody. I think Maryland is more than capable of upsetting one of these better teams. So we just don't know much about Michigan. This will tell us what we need to know about Michigan. It's a home game against Penn State. But Penn State, like I said in yesterday's live show, Penn State has already gone on the road into hostile environments, a.k.a. Purdue and Auburn, and absolutely silenced the stadium. Now, it was a close game against Purdue, but that was the first game of the season. Ask Utah. Even if you're the better team, it's tough to win that first game. Utah was the better team. They should have beat Florida, but because of the atmosphere, first game of the year, they lost it. And, of course, Cameron Rising throwing that ridiculous interception in the end zone. Had he not thrown the interception, they at least get a field goal and send it to overtime. But things happen. So, Penn State is not scared of the road environment. And, no, I'm not comparing the teams of Purdue and Auburn to Michigan. I'm comparing the venue, the environment. And I don't think Michigan's environment, home stadium environment, is not as intimidating as Auburn, and maybe not even as Purdue. Definitely not as much as Auburn, and it's arguable with Purdue. They have over 100,000 people in that stadium, but the way they designed it, it doesn't trap the noise. It doesn't get as loud as it should. Texas A&M, that's how a 100,000 seat stadium. That's how loud a 100,000 seat stadium should get. That's how loud it should get. Michigan, nowhere near that, and it's not because the fans aren't into the game. It's just because of how it was designed. It's not instead of the fans being on top of you, it's a big old bowl. So upper deck or the back row is way far away from the field. Whereas you talk at like Clemson, Texas A&M, because of how the upper decks are situated. Even the people in the back are still on top of the action. The noise is going down onto the field. So I don't think that environment's going to bother Penn State. We're just going to see how good they are. Environment will play a factor, but it's not going to be that big of a deal. And I think Penn State's going to win the game. I really do. I like Sean Clifford. Whenever he's healthy, Penn State's really, really good. Even last year, after he got injured, Penn State looked like a completely different team. He's looking good right now. So I think Penn State definitely has the better quarterback. I think they have I think the running game's about the same. And I think Penn State's defense has surprised me. I think their defense is just a smidge better than Michigan. So all around, I think they're a better team. It's a road game. I'm going to take Penn State in a close game. I'll take Penn State 31-28 with the big road win against Michigan. Now, having said that, I saw in one of my comments, because I've been talking about Matt Rule for the past couple of days. What if West Virginia went after him? Oklahoma is not happy with how the Brent Venables situation has gone, so they're thinking about Matt Rule. Now, that's a bit much. That's a bit crazy. I mean, this is year one. I know you're used to winning, and I know this is the first time ever you started off conference play 0-3. I get that. It's tough. It sucks. But this is year one, and you would owe him $50 million. So that I don't know about that one. But what I heard in the comments section, Penn State. Matt Rule to Penn State. In my opinion, that's absurd. I know James Franklin has had his downs at Penn State, but not that big a down. And the comment was to this effect. The next 3 games are tough for Penn State. Or was it the next 4? It's the next 3 or 4. And if Penn State either goes 500, I think it was the next 4. If Penn State goes 500 or goes 1-3, then they could fire James Franklin. That's no, that would be a bad move. I think James Franklin is a good coach. He won the Big Ten. I know it's been 6 years now, but look at the Big Ten East. That is arguably the toughest division in all of college football, right up there with the SEC West. So I think he's done pretty good at Penn State. Now, maybe he needs to have more success at Penn State. Yeah, maybe. But would hiring Matt Rule be a step up? I don't know. I think they're about the same type of head coach as far as how good both of them are. So I don't know about that. I don't know. That was a weird comment. I was not expecting that. And the way the comment was worded, it was like it's a big time rumor. I'm like, how is it a big time rumor? Penn State's freaking undefeated. He's won the Big Ten. I know it's been a while back, but he has, last year I know was a down year, but Sean Clifford was injured. So just the fact that they're saying that it's a big time rumor that Penn State fans are talking about getting rid of James Franklin, I guess based on foretelling the future, if he goes 1-3, we got to get rid of him. I mean, I guess, if he's not satisfying your needs, then yeah, it's time to get rid of him. But why are you talking about that now? You're undefeated. You have a chance to go on the road and get a very, very winnable big win. So why certain Penn State fans are talking about firing him at this point in time baffles me. I can understand it maybe right after 2020 because they had a bad season that year. But that year was a weird year for Penn State. That first game, that 2-point conversion against Indiana, that's still questionable. Did he really have full control whenever he touched the pylon? I don't know. But it was called, good. Indiana won. Sean Clifford got injured, and it was a bad season. So there was a lot of things that went into that. But I don't agree with that from Penn State fans. I don't think you should be talking about that right now and then trying to foresee the future. Okay, if we go 1-3, then we should fire him. If it happens, then start talking about it, but not now. Right now, you're undefeated. Big game on the road against Michigan. That's what you need to be focusing on. That just baffled me. And the reason I mentioned that was because Penn State was the next team I was going to talk about, even though they're number 10. They're number 5 in my rankings. I think that's why. Next team, number 6, Tennessee. Good win on the road against LSU. Went and absolutely blasted them. Don't be fooled by LSU, though. LSU is not that good of a team. They're not bad, but they did not deserve that number 25 ranking. They went on the road, got down by 17 to Auburn, and then came back and beat them 20-17. In what world does that warrant a top 25 ranking? Not in my world. So LSU gets ranked number 25. Tennessee goes on the road, blows them out. Oh, that's a great win. They went on the road and beat the top 25 team in their house, blew them out. That's because LSU shouldn't have got ranked. So completely disagreed with that ranking. It is what it is. Good win for Tennessee, but let's not blow it out of proportion, okay? LSU is not that great. They barely beat a bad Auburn team. Penn State went on the road and absolutely obliterated Auburn. So you want a direct comparison? Yeah, they're not a good team. It's a good win for Tennessee, though. Okay, it's a good win, but that's not a top 25 win. Just because they had a number 25 beside their name, LSU was not a top 25 team. All right, don't be fooled by that. So the Florida game is the game that really worries me the most for Tennessee because they should have absolutely obliterated Florida, and they had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to stretch the lead to 3 scores. But they kept shooting themselves in the foot and kept allowing Florida to stick around. I thought Florida was going to win that game because Tennessee kept allowing them to stay in the game. It came down to an onside kick. It never, ever should have came down to an onside kick. Tennessee was clearly the better team, and they had the momentum throughout the game. Massive opportunities to stretch the lead to where, you put your foot on the throat and the game's over. But they could never come through. And that's what worries me about Tennessee. Alabama is not Florida. Alabama is way better than Florida, but Alabama is beatable. This is at Tennessee. If Tennessee does not beat Alabama, they're not beating Georgia. If Tennessee does beat Alabama, then I think they have a chance of beating Georgia on the road, because Georgia has shown weakness this year, unlike last year, but it is still on the road. Let's be honest. It's still on the road. So that's going to be a tough outing. Big game for Tennessee for obvious reasons. Nick Danger, thank you so much for the $10 Nation for the super sticker. Appreciate you supporting the show, buddy. Let's move on to USC Trojans. Defense not as bad as what I thought it was going to be. I think the defense is actually not a liability this year. Of course, the offense takes a massive step forward. Everybody thought that was going to happen. Pretty much everybody knew that was going to happen. And it looks like Nick Danger is a channel member as well. So great supporter, man. Appreciate you. But for USC, we all knew that the offense was going to be much better, but their defense don't look bad. And that road trip to Oregon State, bigger win than people give USC credit for. Oregon State was on the cusp of grabbing a top 25 ranking. Research Stadium has been a nightmare for USC fans. I've talked to many USC fans, and nightmare place. Even great USC teams have struggled there. And it did take a late fourth quarter touchdown for USC to beat Oregon State, but hold on, let me check the other. All right, here we go. But they grabbed the win. And to me, that showed mental toughness, because if you watch that game, that was USC did not play a good game. Okay, so even on a down game, they had the mental toughness to still win the game. They made plays at the end of the game to beat Oregon State. That was a good win. At Stanford, Stanford's not a good team, but last year and even years before, Stanford has been a thorn in the side of USC. That was a good hurdle to get over. So congratulations for getting over that hurdle. Fresno State, one of the best group of 5 teams this year. They have taken a small step backwards, but Fresno State, they're a good team. And then this last win, Washington State. I thought that was going to be a closer game. Remember, Washington State went on the road and beat Wisconsin. And I know Wisconsin, not that great. But Washington State, I think they have the potential of finishing in the top 25 this year. I think they're a good team. And to not only beat Washington State, but beat them 30-14, okay, USC takes another step forward. This week, or is it this week? Yeah, this week. All right. Forgot about this game. This week, on the road to number 20, Utah. I was surprised, guys. I was very surprised that UCLA beat Utah. I've had UCLA in my top 25 since the preseason. Last year, they finished 8-4. I liked how their schedule set up. I liked everybody that they got back from last year's team. The way that Chip Kelly wins is not in the trenches, but with his skill position players. So it really didn't mean all that much to me that he lost a lot on the line, because that's not how he wins anyways. He wins with quarterbacks, wide receivers, and running backs, and most of those guys were back. A lot of experience in the secondary as well. So I really like UCLA. I've had them ranked in my top 25 since the preseason. But I did not think UCLA was better than Utah. I didn't. Even when I did my preseason prediction, I think the 2 losses that I had for UCLA was Utah and who was the other? Maybe Oregon, if they play Oregon. I think they do play Oregon. Yeah, at Oregon. But I didn't think, and I had them winning at home to USC because I wasn't sold on USC. So that's going to be a great rivalry game. But listen, UCLA fans, if all 500 of you are listening to me right now, you need to convince the people around you to instantly become UCLA fans, because this is rare and you need to support your team. The fact that you're under 50% on capacity for games against a ranked Washington and a ranked Utah, that is disgraceful. That's shameful. And you're headed to the Big Ten, and Big Ten's watching these games like, oh man, was this a good decision? They're undefeated. They're playing an undefeated Washington at the time, a one-loss Utah, top 25. What does it take for UCLA fans to support their team? You have one of the best head coaches you've had in a very, very long time. Yes, even better than Jim Mora, and Jim Mora is doing pretty good at UConn. For UConn, it is what it is. But yes, Chip Kelly better than Jim Mora. He has them undefeated. They just went 8-4. Even just the simple fact that they went 8-4 last year should have had their expectations up this year to support their team. And I've heard everything from it's LA traffic. It's not that close to the university. It's the heat. I mean, excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse. Listen, I am a West Virginia fan that lives in the upstate of South Carolina, okay? I went to the Backyard Brawl this year, and usually I go to 2 or 3 home West Virginia games. I was planning on going to the Baylor game, but that's not going to happen. I'm looking into the Oklahoma game. We'll see. My point is, don't use traffic, because I drive a total of like 10 hours to go to a game for my team, all right? So that's out. The Backyard Brawl was hot because it was the first game of the year, and Pittsburgh is the Steel City. I mean, it absorbs the heat and it puts it back out on you. It was hot. So I don't want to hear about the weather either. It's not close to the university. Pittsburgh, even farther than 10 hours. It was a total of maybe 12 hours away from where I live. So don't use location either. I don't want to hear it. Your team is undefeated. It's in one of the largest cities in the nation, second largest city in the nation. Surely you can get enough people that are UCLA fans excited enough to go to these games. It's mind-blowing. It's absolutely ridiculous. Sergeant Pickles 13, thank you for the $1.99 donation, says, glad to see the Montana helmet made it. Go Grizz. Yeah, man. I thought it was going to be another helmet, but whenever I saw that one, I really like their colors. The pennant doesn't do their colors justice, because the helmet it's not gray. It's like that charcoal metallic gray. It's really a great looking helmet. So I appreciate you sending me the helmet. Got the Clemson helmet today as well. So still waiting on the Georgia helmet. Just saying. Still waiting on the Georgia helmet. I know one person said that he was going to send the entire, Sun Belt Conference. That's a lot of helmets right there. Haven't gotten it yet, but if I do get that, that's a lot of helmets. But for UCLA, don't give me all those excuses, because I have wiped all those excuses off the board supporting my subpar West Virginia Mountaineers football program, who plays 10 hours from where I live, and then the Backyard Brawl, that's another 2 hours. So a total of 12 hours. Yes, I stopped in Charleston and then spent the night in Pittsburgh and came back to Charleston. But still, that's a total of 12 hours altogether. I'm sick of these stupid excuses. Ridiculous. Sorgy Stories, thank you for the $10 donation, says, hey, GBD, I'll tell you the same thing I told Joey. Here we go. We're in Charleston during the college football season at Thanksgiving/Christmas. If you're there when we are, we got to figure out a day to stream some games. Yeah, absolutely. If our schedules overlap to where we're in Charleston anytime you guys are, we'll absolutely do a live stream with you guys. I see your comment, Nick Danger. That's a good point. Too many football programs around LA, NCAA, and NFL. Basically saying that they're a pro sports town. That's a valid argument. I get that. And the Rams just won the Super Bowl, and USC is good. So the competition argument, that one I can buy. However, how many millions? I'm going to look this up. I got to know, because I got to know what I'm arguing with. All right, so hold on. Come on, phone, be faster. I need you to be faster right now. All right, so here we go. In the city limits of Los Angeles, 3.97 million as of 2020. So probably a little bit higher than that even. So almost 4 million people live in the city of Los Angeles. Okay. So there's not enough people in the city of Los Angeles to fully pack out a 90,000 seat stadium. Beautiful stadium, by the way, the Rose Bowl, one of the all-time classic stadiums in the nation, and it did get a facelift, so it's not like old looking. So there's not enough people in a 4 million populated city to go around to where they can support their NFL team, their NBA team, which the NBA isn't even in season as of right now. It's about to get back in season, so you don't have that competition. The NHL just now started back up, so you didn't have that competition. Football, yes, the Rams. So you have the Rams. Basically, you were competing against the Rams and the Trojans, and you still couldn't muster up enough fan support to fill up. Well, throw the 90,000 out. Half. 45,000 is half. There's not enough UCLA fans to at least make half capacity at the Rose Bowl, 45,000. That's mind-blowing. Absolutely. There you go again. USC is closer to the Rose Bowl at UCLA. I threw that argument out a while back. I'm a West Virginia fan, and I live 10 hours away from Morgantown and 12 hours away from Pittsburgh. But guess what? I go to at least a couple of games every year. I don't want to hear that. It can't be a 10-hour drive if you live near Los Angeles. And I get the traffic. Maybe it's a 2-hour drive because of traffic. A 20-minute drive turns into a 2-hour drive. I understand that. It's frustrating. But still, don't use that excuse. Please, as Ace Ventura would say, please don't get up. But don't use that excuse, because I don't like it. Especially if you're a true, but you might be explaining the problem. True UCLA football fans, that's the problem. Because if you're a true fan, you're going to go, especially if your team's good. I'm a true West Virginia fan. Even when West Virginia's not good, I still go up there. I went to the Backyard Brawl this year. We lost. It sucked. Still went. Man, we shouldn't have lost that game. Thinking about it again. Oh, I hate thinking about that game. Anyways, Tony Altimore says, let me get back up to that. Remember, not an excuse for UCLA. He says, remember, and he's saying not an excuse for UCLA, but a wild consideration that there are often Saturdays when 300,000 people in LA attend college and pro sporting events. Yeah, I get that. It's the competition part. I absolutely 100% understand, but my point is, if you're a true UCLA fan, you should be going to these games. So that tells me that UCLA has way too many fair weather fans, and USC is good this year, so I'm gonna watch USC games and not UCLA. The Rams, I love the Rams, so I put them over UCLA. I'm talking about true UCLA fans. You're literally telling us, you're telling America, UCLA, that there's not a lot of true UCLA fans. You can't use a bad record as an excuse. You're undefeated. Bad weather. Yes, it gets hot. but it's still good weather. It's not near campus. Well, there's a lot of, college, well, not a lot, but there's several college teams that are not near campus that get more support. Miami in Coral Gables, not really near their stadium as far as where they play. And don't get me wrong, they do not get great fan support, but still more than Miami. Think about that, UCLA fans. If there's any in the chat, who knows? There's probably not. Just in case there's one UCLA fan in the chat, think about that. Miami, who's worse than you, doesn't have great attendance. They still get more support than you do because you don't have that many true fans. It's sad. It really is. I hate seeing it. Sorgy Stories, thank you for the $5 donation, says, I should be in West Virginia November 20th through 26th, Sunday to Saturday. My birthday is the 23rd. Oh, so you're near Thanksgiving. I'm actually Christmas Eve, so you share the pain on a birthday near a holiday. So I'm there yearly to celebrate with family. I don't know about Christmas. Same thing with me, except for it's not a yearly thing, so I'm not sure if we're going to be up there for Thanksgiving this year, but usually at least every other year. So if you go there every year, then our schedules will most definitely overlap. I'm just not sure if it's going to be this year. I'll have to, see what kind of plans we have this year. So, Tony Altimore bringing up the traffic argument again. Golden Blue, you can't understand how heinous RB traffic is until you have lived in it. Trust me, it can take 3 hours to go 15 miles, such as their Friday night game. Yes, I understand that. And Friday night is a little more difficult because of, it's Friday night. And you got to realize the lifestyle of Los Angeles Friday nights is when it's really a poppin'. So the traffic's probably even worse. So I understand that. But at the same time, if I can make a 10-hour or a 12-hour trek, then the diehard, if there are any out there, the diehard UCLA fans can make that 3-hour trip. And I know that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but let's say it is a 3-hour trip, I understand that. But still, if you're a diehard fan and your team's doing great, you go support them. And if you live in the city of Los Angeles, then you're probably not a poor hillbilly family, scrounging together to get a West Virginia ticket. You got the money to go. So go. Sorgy Stories, thank you for the $2 donation. Says, reminder, Marquette football undefeated since 1960. I heard rumors, as you see over my left shoulder, that Xavier, who hasn't had a football team since 74. It's either 74 or 64. They're considering bringing back the football program, something to do with Marshall beating Notre Dame. I don't know the exact reason into that. I'll have to look into it, but I actually saw it. It was with the note that came with the that way. Go to blue that way. The Xavier helmet. So I'll look into it and read the note more in detail. Sometimes I can't read things in detail as much as I want because I have so much going on. But I promise I will read that note in detail. But I did see that part where Xavier hasn't had a football team since either 64 or 74. And they're thinking about bringing it back because of Marshall being Notre Dame. Very interested to understand the reasoning behind that. And Tony says, the Utah game, though, showed no excuses. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, Tony. So I think we're on the same page with this, and we understand the excuses. But when it comes down to business, Utah is a big brand. They were ranked, usually undefeated. No excuses. I agree with you. By the way, I see Wholesome One Holloway. Almost said Holiday. Excuse me. Wholesome One Holloway in the chat. Y'all should go check out his channel whenever you get a chance because he has a great college football channel as well. He's a Miami Hurricanes fan. So he's in a bad mood like me right now because his team has let him down. So if you want to go check out another college football YouTuber who's not too thrilled about their team right now, go check out Wholesome Holloway. I was actually in one of his live chats the other night. It was great. Sorgy Stories, man, you are really supporting the show tonight. Appreciate you, buddy. $5 donation, appreciate you. Says you have my email and the channel email, so hopefully on one of the holidays, the next couple of years, it'll work out. Have a good night, Golden Blooded. Well, I guarantee you this: if that's the case, what you said earlier, you go every year, then it will work out. I promise you that. I'm just not sure about this year. That's the I don't know if we're going up there this year or if it's going to be next year. But if you go every year, it's going to happen. Okay, I promise you that it will happen, and it's going to be. I think that could be an interesting collaboration, especially us being in the same place at the same time. I like it. I like it a lot, actually. Look at here. Look at here. Tim Prangley. Of course, if he's in the chat, he's going to throw some smack towards UCLA. UCLA is competing with not just pro sports, it's competing with world champions. Yes, I didn't mention that. Rams, Dodgers, and Lakers. I forgot about the Lakers. And the Dodgers, I think. LA fans have high expectations. 6-0 doesn't move the needle. That last part's an interesting comment. I understand that 6-0 in and of itself doesn't move the needle, and they're competing against world champions in pro sports, NHL with the Kings, MLB with the Dodgers. Let's see, Lakers with the NBA, Rams in the NFL, and then of course Big Brother USC, the Trojans. That is a lot of competition. That's the one argument that I do concede to. Yes, that's a lot of competition. But that's also why I looked up, how many people live in the city limits of LA. And that's not even including the surrounding areas of Pasadena and maybe perhaps some fans up in the Bay Area. I don't know. Just in the city limits of Los Angeles, almost 4 million. So there's plenty of fans to go around. I think the problem goes back to what I mentioned earlier. Die hard 100% UCLA fans. I don't think there's enough of them. And I think you hit it. I think you hit the nail right on the head with that, because it is a pro sports town. Man, we started talking about this. Was not even on the thumbnail. I promise you that was not a clickbait thumbnail, because I've already talked about what's in the thumbnail. We just started talking about UCLA because I was talking about the undefeated teams, and UCLA is still undefeated. Amazing. But I think the most valid argument is that it's a sports team. I do concur with that. I agree with that. But that's exactly why I went back and looked at the population, almost 4 million. That's more than enough people to go around. So why don't they have more diehard fans? Is it because USC has just been more successful, so they gravitate to USC over UCLA? Because I know the Trojans, they have absolutely no difficulty whatsoever of filling up their stadium. I guess the thing that confuses me is, do they switch? I guess that's the biggest question. Do fans switch their alliance based on? I guess my question is, if USC wasn't doing well this year, like if they had a losing record of like 2-4 or 2-3, then would the Rose Bowl be packed out this year because of the Bruins being undefeated? I think that's kind of the direction that my mind is going in right now, because maybe it's a town where, nobody's diehard anything except for pro sports and USC. And UCLA's just kind of, on the side. UCLA's kind of just like, if we have the time. If they're good. If USC's not good. And so on and so forth. So seeing the comments I've seen in the comments section, And looking at the pudding, because the proof is actually in the pudding, that's the conclusion I have to draw, because that's the only thing that makes sense. UCLA has to be the side dish, and all the pro sports teams are the main draw, and USC. And UCLA's like, if we get the time, we'll go see a UCLA game. And that has got to be frustrating for Chip Kelly. He's got to be madder than a hornet right now. By the way, thank you, Nick Danger, for another generous donation, $20 super sticker. Appreciate your support. It is people like you and the viewers that keep this show going, because you can't do this full time free. It is what it is. People look, oh, you do YouTube and you make money. Yeah, I do this full time. You have to make money somehow if you're going to do this full time. So you can look down on me if you want. But for those of you that support, appreciate you. I saw where was it? Tim said something. He said, I'm a Trojan, Dodger, Ram, Laker, Kings fan. In that order. I like that order, by the way. Most people are fans of multiple teams. Money and time become a factor. So that's the argument for UCLA. It's what order do they fall on the fandom? So with Tim, his fandom is the college team first, but it's USC. And then the pro teams. So if my guess is correct with people that are UCLA fans, supposedly, UCLA is probably like definitely under the Rams. So that's spot 2. Definitely under the Dodgers. So now they're at the 3 spot. Probably under the Lakers. So that's a 4 spot. I'm going to assume that they're a real UCLA fan. So they don't support the Trojans. So even not supporting the Trojans, that's still 4th on the pecking order. I never thought of it that way. If that's the case, should UCLA play football? I'm just going to say it. I was thinking it, so I'm going to say it. If UCLA is that far down on the pecking order for even UCLA fans, and they can't get support even in a great season like this year, I mean, they're looking like they could legitimately win the Pac-12. And I'm not throwing shade on USC, not at all. I think it'll come down to USC and UCLA, those two teams. And that game is in Pasadena, although there's probably going to be more Trojan fans there. But that's a true home game for UCLA. So I give the Bruins a decent shot of winning, because they've already taken care of Utah and Washington. The road trip to Oregon, I don't expect them to win that. But, hey, if they win that, that's another, peg for them. Should they even be playing football? Seriously, this is a serious question, guys. If UCLA is so far down the pecking order, I might make a video on this. This is a great conversation right here. Should UCLA drop football? If UCLA is, even for UCLA fans, not just the flip-flop fans, but for UCLA fans, are they so far down the order that they fall, below the Rams, Dodgers, and Lakers? What's the point? In a year where they're going undefeated, they've had home games against a ranked Washington who was undefeated at the time, a ranked Utah. They weren't undefeated, but one loss, ranked, big-time Pac-12 implications. And they got, 40,000 in there in a 90,000-seat stadium? Is it time for UCLA to pack it up as a football program? Obviously not. They're going to the Big Ten. They're going to continue football. I'm just saying, based on the pecking order, they're having massive success this year, and they still can't halfway fill that stadium. I don't know. Well, they're joining the Big Ten, so they're getting money. That doesn't really answer the question as far as should they drop football, because how much money is football bringing in? Not much, because it doesn't get much support. So that's why I'm asking the question, should UCLA drop football? because it doesn't make any sense. I mean, in a year where they're really, really good and they're undefeated, 2 home games against ranked opponents, one was undefeated, and they can't even fill the stadium halfway. I'm not talking about full. Forget full, all right? Put full out, all right? Not worried about full. Halfway. They can't fill their stadium halfway. It's insane. That blows my mind. Let's see what Tony and hold on, let's see here. Something that Tony said earlier really caught my eye, but I can't find it now. Of course. What was it? Well, I know Tony said, remember that UCLA, Miami, Stanford, etc. draw big TV audiences. Not sure about UCLA, though. Stanford, Miami, Notre Dame, BYU, yes. UCLA, not so sure about that one, buddy. And have national brands that transcend some diehard fans who can commit a whole day to a game. 100% agree with that about Miami, Stanford. I would even throw in Notre Dame and BYU in there. Not sure about UCLA. I know they're a national brand, but I don't think they have a national audience. I really don't. I don't think they have a national audience. I don't think they draw in the eyeballs that people think they do. And they for sure don't get the attendance that they're capable of getting, drawing from the second largest city in the nation, almost 4 million people. But they're so far on the pecking order. There's so few diehard UCLA fans. And, even in the years that UCLA's not good, those fans will flip over to USC in a heartbeat. There's fans like that in Los Angeles. And I'm not talking down to them. I mean, you have choices. Use them. But in a year where UCLA is good, that's my point. They still can't. We wouldn't be having this conversation if UCLA was a 500 team or a 2-loss team or a under 500 team. Wouldn't be. Maybe even if they had 1 loss. But they're undefeated, and they've hosted some ranked teams. It absolutely – it does blow my mind. I'm trying to comprehend it, and I'm trying to sympathize and empathize and put my feet in their shoes. I just can't, because I am a true diehard West Virginia fan, and I drive 10 hours to go to a home game. And I admit, I have a selfish reason for wanting West Virginia in the ACC. I want to be able to go to more road games, because even a home game for West Virginia is a 10-hour drive for me. Road games for West Virginia would be closer, except for Pitt, Syracuse, and Boston College. Maybe Louisville might be a longer drive. So besides my own team, only 4 teams in the ACC and Miami, and Florida State. Dadgummit, I forgot the South. 6 teams. Still, that's not bad. Still not bad. Virginia Tech, closer drive. Virginia, closer drive. NC State, Duke, Wake Forest, North Carolina, closer drive. Clemson, closer drive. Georgia Tech, closer drive. 8 teams in the ACC would be a closer drive. This is in pesos. So thank you, Tide Guy, for the 49, not dollar, but 49 peso donation. How much is that in American dollars? I always get confused on that. I think you said $250 last time or something. UCLA made almost 3 times the revenue West Virginia made in 2021. That can't be in football, though. My point is football. I know as a brand and overall sports, UCLA actually turns a profit in swimming, Olympic sports. They make a considerable amount of money in, Olympic sports. But 3 times the revenue in football, you need to give me a printout on that, because I really do find that hard to believe. I would maybe be inclined to believe more than West Virginia, but 3 times as more, not now USC, yes, 10 times as more probably. But in football, I just don't buy it with UCLA, because they don't have the support, even as a national brand. hand on the Bible, which I don't have a Bible, but you get what I'm saying. Swearing, solemnly swear. I have never, ever, 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 ever seen a UCLA car flag, UCLA bumper sticker, UCLA license plate, UCLA nothing. Never. I've seen plenty of USC memorabilia all over the place. Which, by the way, I know I have plenty of USC fans and still no USC mini helmet. Just saying, guys. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to pick on anybody. I'm just saying. But for UCLA, I've never seen a bumper sticker. I've never seen a car flag. I've never seen anything that said UCLA other than on the internet, watching TV, on my phone, anything like that. I've never seen somebody represent UCLA. That is the honest truth. Seriously, that is the honest truth. For these other national brands, Alabama, yes, plenty. Ohio State, yes, probably even more than Alabama, and I live in the South. Michigan, yes, plenty. Texas, plenty. USC, plenty. Yes, even here over in the East, plenty. All the national brands, even Nebraska. I've seen Nebraska. Usually, I have not. I have not. Mark Kern says UCLA should still play football. If not, that's taking food off somebody's table. Taking food off somebody's table. If you're talking about the players, they would just go to another university. If you're talking about the coaches, they would just go to another university. So if it's not bringing in that much money for UCLA, not understanding that one right there. HR picking stuff says USC equals Daphne, UCLA equals Velma. Yep, 100% agree. Likable, but still not the main attraction. Yes. USC fans, send GBD a Marcus Allen bobblehead. That would actually be pretty awesome. I liked Marcus Allen in the NFL even. He was a great, great player. Yeah. Great player. Awesome stuff right there. Awesome stuff. But for UCLA, I'm just being honest, guys. I've never seen anybody fly anything UCLA. Car flag, bumper sticker, license plate, you name it, never seen it. And I can say that I have for probably all the national brands. Notre Dame, yes, absolutely. Oklahoma, oh yeah, definitely. Georgia, of course. I live near Georgia. Anything in the southern part, of course, 100%. But even the ones that are farther away, Nebraska, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State's probably at least close to a national brand. USC, Oregon, yes. Even Washington. I've seen Washington stuff flying around here. Never UCLA. UCLA is a basketball blue blood. Yes, that is correct. And they do get support for basketball. Yes, 100%. But we are talking about college football. And during a year where they're undefeated and they've hosted some big names and some top 25 teams, one was undefeated, they're not getting the support. And it's absolutely mind-blowing. And I know everybody's explained, the reasons why that might be. And I understand it, especially the competition part. But whenever it comes down to it, I cannot relate to that because as a West Virginia fan, especially if we were undefeated, not only would our stadium be packed out, but we would be building on or adding temporary bleachers because you're not keeping more than 60,000 out of that stadium. I mean, it would be 70,000 overflowing. Case in point, I know it was before our stadium downgraded as far as size. I think we were at 60,500. But that Miami game in 1993, when we were undefeated, they were top 10. Over 70,000 packed Mountaineer Field. So, yes, I do have facts to back that up. So, that's why I can't relate to it. I don't understand it. Yes, UCLA is a top 20 program all time. You're just adding to my argument. You're not adding to UCLA's argument. You're adding to my argument. Top 20 program. So, they should be supporting it. Plenty of national championships. Well, definitely in basketball. I'm not sure about football. I know they have a couple. basketball blue blood. They're in a big city. National brand, national fan base. The list goes on. So there's more reasons why they should be packing out the stadium than not. I don't know. Do y'all know where? Is there other places where there's large alumni bases? Maybe they could hold temporary home games in those cities. Like, let's say that UCLA has a massive alumni base in, I don't know. We'll say Tulsa, Oklahoma, right? So for one of their home games, they go to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and no, we'll say like an actual college town, like Stillwater or Norman. And on a week where Oklahoma or Oklahoma State doesn't have a home game, UCLA takes over, and because they have such a large alumni base there, they can pack that stadium out. Maybe that's and I don't know that. There's probably not a large alumni base in those two cities. I just use them as an example. Or maybe Sacramento. Build a stadium up there in Sacramento, possibly a huge, massive alumni base that would support UCLA and pack it out. I'm just trying to think of ways for UCLA to pack out their stadium because this is sad, guys. Yeah, Nick Danger. That's what it comes down to. People there just don't care about college football, except for USC. You answered the question a while back. It's a pro town. Okay, so they only won one national championship in football, which is 1954. But still, that's one more than West Virginia, and we still support our team way more. But the state of West Virginia doesn't have any professional teams. I think we figured it out. The argument, this is the answer right here, guys. It's not the travel. It's not the weather. It's definitely not their success this year because UCLA is looking really, really good. It's not that. Here's the answer. Los Angeles is a pro town. And on top of that, USC is above UCLA. So, yes, USC has to compete with the Lakers, the Kings, the Dodgers, the Rams, but they do compete with them. With UCLA, they have to compete with all four of those and USC. And USC just has a bigger fan base, a more loyal fan base. So that's the answer to the question right there. And it's sad. Oh, Tony says, he said yes to 1954, but they begrudgingly should have also been given the 1955 title too. I'll have to look into that. But even though we've answered the question, I think I still want to make a video on that. I think it's still worth making a video on. I really do. UCLA and why they're not packing out their stadium. Absolutely. Tony says, you just nailed a more solid conclusion than sports media and marketing firms could conjure up. Well, when it's the truth, that's how you nail it. It's dancing around it when you don't nail it. So, yeah. Anyways, great live show, guys. And it's not because of me. It's because of you. Y'all showed up, showed out. A lot of people commenting. Hey, make sure to hit the like button on the way out. It still helps the video. Even though we won't be live anymore, it still helps the video. So please do that on the way out so that we can continue to grow the video. Because like I mentioned earlier, you can look down on me because I make money on YouTube. But if you're doing this full time, then you have to make money. So that's how we make money here. And that's how we keep it going. So please hit the like button on the way out. It will continue to help the video. Shout out to everybody that hit that super chat button. Appreciate you supporting the channel financially. That's what really helps us keep going to where we can keep doing this full time. Appreciate you guys. Everybody that's already hit the like button, everybody that's watching, everybody that commented, and everybody that's subscribed. And if you're not subscribed, I'm telling you, if you're a college football fan, this is the channel for you. This is what we do every single day. college football live shows and college football regular pre-recorded videos. This is what we do every day. You don't have to like me. You don't even have to like the videos. Just like college football. That's the only requirement here at Golden Bluted. Just like and love college football, and I'm pretty sure that you'll like it. You can always unsubscribe if you don't like it. There's always that. So, and if you are a subscriber, make sure to hit the notification bell, even though sometimes YouTube still doesn't notify whenever the bell is rung. But make sure you have that on for sure. And let's get YouTube in line and make them, start notifying people for these live shows, because that is a big deal. That's what helps us the most. Because if they don't know you, especially in my situation, I don't have a schedule. So I need that notification to work. So YouTube, do your job, please. We need you. Other than that, tomorrow we will be live streaming the Baylor at West Virginia game. So be here for that. And since it's a Thursday, I will allow some people join periodically. All right. Not throughout the entire show. All right. Just every once in a while, probably 3 or 4 at a time. So don't be mad if you don't get in at a certain point, because I'll be watching the game and reacting for some chunks. But at the same time, I want to interact with some people as well. And for the people that do get on, it's not going to be for the entire length of the show. You'll be on for probably 15 minutes, and then we'll go back to just the game. So just want everybody to be prepared for what tomorrow is going to be like. So yes, I will have the link in the chat, and you will be able to join, but not all the time. All right? It's going to be a great time. Even if West Virginia does win, I guarantee you will see me angry at some point in this game. 100%, even if we win. I'm hoping we win. You'll see the entire spectrum of emotions from Golden Bluted. But even if we do win, I promise you, I will be angry at some point in this game. Promise you that. That's just how I roll. So come back tomorrow. Great live show for the Baylor West Virginia game. Even if you're not a West Virginia or Baylor fan, and you just like college football, and you like seeing nutcases like myself react to their team making mistakes, come on by. I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy the show. So that's it for tonight. Michigan Man says, go to Bluted. I'll be watching the WU Baylor game Thursday, rooting for West Virginia. Well, come on over to the live show tomorrow. You can still watch it on your TV, and even if you're not listening to us, you can still, turn on the live show, and it still helps the video YouTube algorithm. Even if you're not like watching, if you have it on your phone, it still helps the algorithm. I'm just saying. Yeah. Anybody that can come by and participate would be amazing, fantastic, and awesome. Ty Guy with another 449 peso, not dollar, peso super chat. Free up your Monday night, 10 p.m. for Sports Jeopardy. Yes, I forgot to mention that. Tide Guy over on his YouTube channel is starting up a new thing called Sports Jeopardy. And I won't be able to participate every Monday night, but I will be popping in from time to time. So come join us over there. But for tonight, we're going to wrap it up. Appreciate everybody stopping by. Hit the like button on the way out. All the comments. I'm telling you, this was an amazing show. One of the best shows we've had in a while. Amazing, fantastic. And some of the things that we talked about, I had not planned on talking about. It's just the road that we lead sometimes. So we will definitely see you tomorrow. And I think the game, hold on. I want to double check here. Dadgummit, I thought I had it on ESPN. Hold on. And I know probably somebody will chat before I can find it because my phone is being slow. But, oh, by the way, Louisiana is beating Marshall 3-0. About 5 minutes left in the second quarter. Big 12. There we go. 7 o'clock. So we'll probably start the live show around 6:30, 6:45. So remember that tomorrow. I mean, worst case scenario, we start at 7. We're running late. But I think I'll be able to start by 6:30. So stop on by. It's going to be a live show. A good live show. Anyways, that's it for tonight. We do know what time we will see you tomorrow because it is a game night. 6:30, 6:45, somewhere around there. Come on by, and we'll see you there. But for tonight, that's it. Y'all have a good rest of your Hump day. The work week is halfway over. It's all downhill in a good way from here. So enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and we're definitely going to see you tomorrow. Stop on by.